Hello and welcome to Two Spanners, One Hammer, our new podcast just for patrons, delivered to you by patrons. I'm going to get out of the way in a second. Well, get out of the way in a second. I'm going to be a guest. I'm going to downgrade myself, and we're upgrading Charlie at the same time. He's going to be the presenter of this show going forward. Ray's going to be sidekick for the show going forward. And the third person is not going to be me. It's not going to be Gonzo. It's going to be one of you guys. This is only available for patrons to watch, and it's only available for patrons to join in on. So if you want to be the guest in the next episode, please let us know in the comments below. And Ray and Charlie will sort it out with you, and they'll get you on in the future episodes. So Charlie, over to you, my friend.
So yeah, everyone, welcome to Spanners One Hammer. That is, of course, me and Ray are the spanner, and you can be the hammer. If you want to know how to get involved in the show, we'll tell you at the end, and we'll put it up on Patreon so you can all get involved. It's also going to involve your questions, stuff like that. We'll put it all in a big post, though, so you know exactly everything that's going on. Ray, how the devil are you, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you. I haven't got the virus yet, so yeah, all good.
How is the Liverpool bar going, given the fact that there is a pandemic going on?
Well, Scousers just want to drink more, to be fair, so they're all in force at the moment.
Well, you can respect it.
Probably trying to pickpocket people. I don't know if I can say that.
I mean, having working in Liverpool, I probably wouldn't suggest you say it, but you have now, and it's fine. But thankfully, it's only in front of the patrons and no one else. How about you, Gio? How are you?
I'm not too bad. I'm a bit wary of you hosting your own show.
Bruv, listen, it's good, bro. We're all good. We're all golden.
For the viewers, this is not the first take. Just saying, Charlie.
Okay. I may have pressed the wrong button, but what's life? It doesn't matter. So, Gio, we'll start with you, I guess. First question. I guess, given the fact that we're now in this period of weird postponement, it's probably the right time to look at David Moyes and his current time at West Ham. How do you think he's doing? How would you rate it?
Up until a few games ago, after the Brighton game, I wanted him sacked. We'd thrown a 2-goal lead away again in what I consider to be an absolute must-win. I didn't think a draw was enough. The game at Man City certainly did not change my mind. If anything, that only strengthened my opinion that he had to go. But in between Etihad and Anfield, something dropped for David Moyes. I'm convinced the penny dropped for him. I think he realised he was getting a kick-in from fans because I think he thought a 2-0 defeat was a good result. And then I think he probably was a bit surprised that the fans hated how we played, because he made a comment about how the real fans understand how difficult it is. And to me, that would insinuate he's tuned in to what the general fan base is saying. Goes to Anfield, get beat again, but he gets applauded off the pitch. The players get applauded off, and I think at something probably thought, okay, so they accept a defeat providing we have a go, kind of thing. Happy with how we played against Southampton, how we played against Arsenal as well, and if he was to do that for the remainder of the season, should it continue, I'd warm to him. But as it still stands, am I David Moyes in? No. But I'm certainly a bit more David Moyes, let's give him a chance, than I was at the full-time whistle when we drew 3-3 against Brighton.
What do you think it was that, when you say the penny dropped, what do you think happened there? Like, is it just a case of he realised that we're not strong enough defensively to stay up if he just wanted to go defensively? Or is it just the fact that he thought, if I'm going to have any chance of staying here and appeasing fans, do I need to step up and try and do a bit more to get them on side? What do you think it was?
I'm not sure, because he should have known from his first tenure here that his type of football wasn't the most welcomed, because the majority, I'd say, wanted him to leave at the end of his first reign here. And he sort of continued his first reign when he first come in. We didn't really see a change as to what we saw the first time. So there was a lot of "I told you so" in the fan base, including myself, which thought this is why I didn't want him back, kind of thing. We almost needed to see a different David Moyes, and I think we have. But 3 games, what's inflicted it in him, I don't know. I don't think we'll ever know. But something did. I don't know if someone's had a word with him, or whether it's a player, or he's read something somewhere or heard something somewhere. I think there was a little light switch moment between City away and Anfield away, because the top 2 teams, you cannot go to the top 2 teams in the league and play that differently, and for there not to be something that's changed in between the games, because one was midweek as well, so it was only like 4 or 5 days apart. It wasn't a whole week apart. It's 4 or 5 days apart. she didn't have that long on the training ground between games. But yeah, it was a completely different mentality, completely different approach. Something changed in the world of David Moyes, and thank God it did.
Yeah, and the thing that's weird for me is that the one that he went for was arguably the harder game, and yet he still went all out for it. Ray, do you agree with Gio? Do you reckon there was a sort of a change in shift, and how do you rate Moyes so far this season?
Well, just going backwards to forwards, a case that he might have had too much to do with just him and the coaches that he had. Because didn't he only have like 3 coaches? So could it be a pressure? It was a high pressing game, and then after that he was like struggling. He got a backroom staff in, and we seemed to start bringing in better performance. And you know, I was at the Liverpool game myself, and it was a real work rate was right there. Yeah, we had Bowen on the bench, ready to come on, so change the atmosphere in the dressing room. Give him a benefit of that at the start. Even though I totally agree with Gio, I don't think he's the manager we should be going forward. But now he's put in the performance that he's got. He's brought in a couple of the youth player coming forward. Sorry, left back. Right back. And then I kind of wanted to see him do a bit more of that. See if he can bring in some of the youth, bring in some of the younger players through the team.
What would be? So you say that like you're not Moyes in, and I don't. To be fair, I don't think any of us are. I don't think any of the 3 of us would say right now, Moyes in. Let's go all hail Moyes. Like that's not what any of us would say. But what for you, Ray, would be the thing that would push it yourself over the line to say, actually, I'd be quite content if Moyes were to stay past the end of this season?
I'm pretty much almost there as it is with the performances against Liverpool, and the other performances are backs. You know, in my head, I think he's probably going to fuck it up in the next 6 months of the first. And so, well, you know, we gave him the opportunity, which I think he probably deserves now, because he's got his backroom staff and that. He probably deserves that extra time to do it. But me personally, I don't have confidence, and I hope he proves me wrong.
What about you, Gio?
More attacking intent, I guess, is the phrase I would use. I think Man City, I didn't see any all bit outbiting. I saw us take the lead, and I saw us completely retreat. And I just want to see us. It's almost like attacking players on the pitch. When we went up to Man City, we had 1 striker, and we had Snodgrass playing like a false 10, and that's just not good enough. You're not going to get anywhere doing that. I appreciate it's Man City away, but we were seeing that in other performances as well. You know, Leicester away, we didn't really put enough attacking players out there. But here we are at the Emirates playing like 4 attacking-minded players on the park, and that's what I want to see. And if he continued to do that, I'd be happy to see what he could do next season, but I'm not overly confident he would, because at the minute we are out of the relegation zone, and if the season was to continue as normal starting next week, hypothetically for the argument of here, if we were to lose our next game, I am not confident we would see 4 attacking-minded players on the pitch for the following game, which would be Spurs away, going by the fixtures. I think we would perhaps see a little bit more. He would remove Fornals and put Snodgrass in there, kind of thing, just sort of solve it up a little bit. So it's almost like a game of chicken between Moyes and results. And if the results are going okay, I think we'll see a bit more expansive football in return. However, as soon as one result goes against us, I think Moyes will almost say, right, that's it. I've had enough of this experiment. It's not working. I don't want to do this anyway. We're going back to what I know, which is safety first.
What do you think? Okay, so what would you rate last time Moyes was here out of 10? Moyes' performance specifically, not the team's performance, Moyes' performance specifically, and then what would you rate this time's out of 10?
Well, what in relation to what he's doing, or how entertained I am? Because it's 2 different questions.
In your head, what the optimal performance for a manager would be? So 10. Let's say you think like the optimal West Ham performance as a manager. I don't know if that's Slav's last season or what that is, but whatever the 10 for you would be about the situation he is in. How well do you think he did relative to how well it's possible to do?
The first time, a 6, a 5. He did what he was brought in to do, which was keep us up, but I don't think it was anything special. He got, I don't want to say he was scraped through it, but certainly the last couple of games of the season, we played teams that had nothing to play for, and we won them because we were still going, and that bumped us up the table a little bit, and I think that sort of skewed the results a little bit. But this time round, until Anfield, he came in and beat Bournemouth in the first game, but I think Pellegrini would have won that game anyway. Maybe not as big a scoreline. We might not have scored 4 goals, but I think Pellegrini would have picked up all 3 points. Since then, up until the Southampton game, we were just getting beat. And we weren't just getting beat, we were getting beat convincingly. We were getting slapped. And then when we drew against Brighton, it was just horrendous. The football's horrendous. We didn't have a shot on target against Man City. It's just dire. If it was the last 3 games, I'd probably give him an 8 or a 9 if I was doing. Although we've only won 1 game, Liverpool away, Arsenal away, Southampton at home, we picked up 3 points out of those 3 games. I'd still rate him highly because of his intent, the way we played football. But overall, for his tenure in the second spell here, I'm still going to give him a 5, maybe even a 4. And that might sound harsh, but I don't want to get clouded by the last 3 performances. He's been here longer than 3 games. And at some point during that spell, I wanted him sacked. So I can't go from wanting him sacked to giving him an 8 or a 9 off the back of 3 games. So I'm going to be stubborn. I'm going to say a 4 or a 5. But a few weeks ago, it was a 1 or a 2. So he's on the increase, if that's any positive to go towards.
I mean, any upswings, right? Ray, same question. What do you think?
Well, I'd be a bit more generous than Gio. I would give him like a 6 or 7. I think last time he was here, he'd done a job for us, and it was, that's what he needed to do. It's the same with Sam Allardyce when he was here. It was a job to get us back into the Premiership, but the football was terrible. So, did we want to be in the Championship? Well, if more goals up, so I'm quite happy with the performance he's done. For this season, I still put a lot of it down to the fact that he didn't have any backroom staff and he couldn't do the performances and the training. We had some injuries as well, a bit like every other team down the bottom with their injuries. So yeah, I'll give him probably about a 6, 7 at the moment.
Let us know what you think as well. I pretty much agree with everything they said. Hang
on a minute. You can't agree with everything they said.
I wasn't
going to give him a 7 and I've gone a 5.
I didn't want to. No, I'm saying the things you said. Number, Okay, if I was to give my full opinion, I wasn't going to, but I will. I think that's the thing Gio brought up, right? Is the idea of like recency bias and the last couple of games. I don't know if I could push it super high up. If you just take those games in isolation, and I'm really happy. And actually, if you look at the People's preview we did before Wolves was when it was meant to happen, I said actually I had a bit of confidence he would do the right thing, and that's kind of the first time I'd ever really said that. Pre that, I was always like, I think he's going to revert back to being defensive. I thought he was going to be sit back, park the bus, but every time he kept proving me wrong. And so before that, I felt, do you know what? I reckon he's going to go for this, and I reckon we've got a chance of getting something. But I'm also aware, like Gio says, and like Ray, that's a small segment of time, because not only has he been here for the months before that, but also the 6 months before that, where I don't think he did very well in general. I would probably give him a 5 for the last time, because I think, do you know what? You got it done. You did what you needed to do. I'll give you some credit for discovering Arnautovic is actually a striker, not a ton, but I'll give you at least a little bit.
Christ almighty, I can see that gritted teeth from here.
It's difficult. Because the truth is that without Arnautovic, I don't think we would have stayed up that year. If we didn't have Arnautovic, it wasn't happening.
Yeah, but without Aguero, would City have won the title and all that? It's all relevant,
but City are more than a one-man team.
Yeah, of course.
We were very much a one-man team.
Yeah, and that one man took us from 17th to 13th or whatever, whereas Aguero takes them from 2nd to 1st, which is
why I'm giving him a little bit of credit. A little bit. I'm not going to give him.
Am I defending Moyes here? Can we please move on?
Yeah, you are. You literally are. Listen,
I don't like this game.
You move me back, but in these circumstances, I think I'd give him probably. I don't know if we're doing half points. It'd be somewhere between 6 and 7. Let's say 7 if we're not doing half, because I think actually that little bit where he has clicked, I think it has clicked, and it was that faith that he would do the right thing. which is fun. But I wasn't going to go into that, so it's your own fault, Gio. Literally your fault. We've got this postponement because of everyone knows the coronavirus. What a time to be alive. How will it affect our summer, do you reckon, Gio? Because we're in a weird situation where A, we've got Souček. What happens with that deal? But B, we also know we probably don't have a huge budget. If the revenue of the club is going down, which it probably will because we're not going to have as many games, there won't be people at those games. How is that going to affect the summer? I don't want to be negative about it, but how do you think it will?
Well, you've got to be negative about it. It's not positive, is it?
Yeah.
And everyone's been negative about it. Every single person involved in football, from the very top of the FA all the way down to the working man on the street that wants to go to the game. Everyone is negative, and so they should be. If you're positive about this, then I don't think football's for you, mate. You know, even if you're a Norwich City fan, surely you'd rather see you playing games. And granted, you're probably going to get relegated, but it's better than just not playing games, right? So, the unofficial word coming from the whispers of the club, if you like, is that it would cost it would cost the club up to about 40 million if the season got done today. 40 million it would cost the club because of sponsorship. Obviously, Sky, BT would want a bit of their money back. Then you've got your match day income and so on, refunds for fans. So it would cost them quite a lot of money. Souček, I think we've got an obligation to sign him if we stay up. Now, I guess it's about the wording. Is the wording if we stay up, or is the wording if we're playing Premier League football next season? Because if it's the latter, we have an obligation to buy him. But if it's the former, I think we've got a legal battle coming on with his current club who are going to say, hang on a minute, we'll have him back, thank you. Obviously. But given our financial situation, do I have faith in David Sullivan contesting that legal battle? I'm not sure. I think he would be quite happy to let a £15 million purchase go. We're not going to have any money for transfers in the summer regardless of all this. Even if the season got fulfilled, I think our transfer budget is going to be extremely slim. I think we're going to get told that Jared Bowen was the summer transfer kitty money. And because we bought him and he's helped keep us up, we're going to get told it was a good deal and it's the right thing to do, which I don't disagree with. But the club's skint, the cupboard's bare. So in terms of summer transfers, I would not get your hopes up, boys. I would not get your hopes up at all. But every club's going to be impacted. It's not only West Ham that loses 40 million. Every club's going to get a bit of a dent in their money. The big clubs will be all right. But the clubs down the bottom who are a bit skint, they're not going to be good.
How bad do you think that is for our season next year then? If at all, you might think it's good for our season to have.
No.
To play devil's advocate, you might think it's good to have the same group of players being worked on by the manager for more than 6 months for once.
This group of players have had us flirting with relegation for the whole season. It's gone stale. I think the problem is our group of players is a bit strange considering the majority of them got signed under Pellegrini a year and a half ago, but it seems to have gone stale, or there's some big egos or something. There's something not right in the changing room, and I think we need to eradicate that problem. And the problem is if everyone's skint in the summer, selling players is going to be even more difficult than buying players, and we get told every summer, don't we? We've got to sell before we can buy. Well, actually, this summer it's probably going to be true. So if you want a left back, you're going to have to wait till someone comes in and takes Masuaku off our hands, and no one is coming to take Masuaku off our hands.
Or would a player go on, Ray?
I was just going to say, do you reckon all the loan players that are out at the moment, they're going to be coming back, and we're probably not going to be selling them as much now? So, like, some of the youngsters like Diagano come back. West Brom might not have 10 million to spend on getting him in if they want him. So could that be an opportunity for some of them players to get through the ranks?
Yeah, I think that's a very plausible and very fair. That goes for every club. I think every club's now got to turn to their youngsters and say, well, you need to come in and make up the numbers, really. But this is where the discussion goes further than West Ham, because if the season's null and void, what do you do with West Brom, who are currently sitting second in the Championship and on merit have a strong case for why they should get promoted? But if they're going to have to stay in the Championship, they ain't buying anyone.
What do you think, Ray?
Yeah, I really think it's going to be. I think in the summer we're not going to be spending any money unless we sell a player. I don't see us getting anyone in, and even if we do, we're probably not going to get that much money for anyone, because if you think about it, every club is going to be between 20, 40, maybe even 60 million wiped off their books. Who's going to have money to spend on players across the board, whether that's even in the UK or across Europe? So this is the time that Sullivan might be in his basket bin, getting out all these little gems that he thinks they are from South America or whatever, and try and plucking them out for 1 or 2 millions. Because that's all we're going to have, if anything. I personally don't see we have anything. Does give me hope. We are going to lose Zabaleta. We are going to lose Roberto. We are going to lose who else?
Sanchez.
The midfielder.
Sanchez.
So it gives me hope that we might have some of these youth players in the squad and maybe get the opportunity, 1 to 5 games throughout the whole season. If it even starts, because they're talking about this might go on till November, December time. So when does the season start? Are we going to only be able to play half a season? I don't know. It'd be a toss-up whether you get home or away.
I had a question. I'm not going to lie, I had a question. It's completely gone from my head because I just couldn't remember the name of Sanchez. He's such a weird footballer. Ray, do you think that this is a hypothetical, I appreciate, but is this a leveler in a weird way? Because obviously Champions League clubs are probably going to lose out more money than we are. Does that mean that we could get closer to them? Or do you think that could actually be worse for us because all of a sudden our players become the people in the price bracket that the top clubs are having to almost search in, and they would probably be looking at the same players we were if they were looking at, say, I don't know, I can't name a player off the top of my head, but someone who's in Italy who would cost maybe 10 million, all of a sudden that becomes like a really good prospect for someone like Man United, as opposed to them who maybe go out and buy, I don't know, try and buy Milinkovic-Savic or someone like that for 80. Do you see that as a positive or a negative, Ray?
I see it as a positive for Man City and Liverpool, the top two, because I can see Man City still spending the money they got, because they've got a country behind them. So I can see them trying to get closer to Liverpool. As for the people with Man United and the Arsenals and that of the world, even us, I don't see Man United coming in for Rice now for 60 to 80 million. I see him trying to put in that kind of bids. Again, they might go to Europe and some of the smaller leagues in Europe and try and approach them. But again, some of the smaller leagues might be like, we don't want to sell our best players at rock bottom prices. So let's hold on to them. Unless they've got a year left on their contract, then that might be an opportunity there. But if anyone's got 2-3 years on their contract, they're going to try and hold off to try and get big bucks for the following season or following summer.
Gio, how do you feel?
I don't know. I don't think it's all sort of like subjective, isn't it? Everybody's gonna. It's probably a percentage. Every club's looking to, lose, I don't know, 20% of their income for the season. It's all relevant. So Norwich losing 20% is the same to us losing 20%, which is the same to Man City losing 20%. It's different figures, but in terms of percentages, it all ties in with income and outgoings and stuff. I don't think it'll affect who we go for. I don't think it'll affect who Man City and Liverpool go for. I agree with. I think Liverpool will still go for Timo Werner. I think Man City will still be thinking we need to go out and buy a couple of big players because they've got a second issue with the whole can we get in the Champions League thing there. But in terms of this whole coronavirus impact, it will filter through. I think it's going to have a big impact. Will it be a level? I'm not sure. I think it's a good question, actually. And it's one that maybe there is an opportunity for a club like West Ham to be a bit ballsy, actually, for Sullivan and Gold to say, do you know something? We're going to chuck in 50 million here. And actually, we are going to have a bit of financial muscle within the FFP regulations and stuff this summer because we've not been doing it for the last 3 years. So we can now do something here. It's going to take a little bit of something for our owners. But the problem is they've got businesses out with West Ham which are going to be being impacted currently. So while David Sullivan's worth $1 billion on paper today, who knows what he's going to be worth in a couple of months. I'm sure he's still going to be worth hundreds of millions. But if he loses 10%, it's still 100 million. It's a lot of money to have wiped off your assets and stuff. So their personal wealth is going to be called into question, perhaps, because of this as well. Everyone's going to be struggling, though. Everyone's going to be feeling the impact.
Do you reckon because Chelsea haven't been spending the money in last summer transfer, they're going to be benefiting?
Arguably. I mean, they were linked to quite a few players in January when the ban got lifted, but they didn't really make any moves. But I don't think they don't need to do much, though, do they? I think actually, given the likes of Tomori, James, Mount, Abraham, all a season in the Premier League is worth millions to them, really. If you basically said to Chelsea at the start of the season, look, for 50 million, in a magical world, we can add a year's experience onto all these players, or you can go buy someone, what do you want? They would have probably said, I'll have that year's experience for all those players, please. And there's probably another couple of younger players that I'm missing. I know they've not been playing, but Loftus-Cheek, Hudson-Odoi, they've got a lot of youth at that club that actually they don't need many players. I worry about them coming. I used to worry about them coming after Declan Rice, but I look at Jorginho and I think he's not really going to get in ahead of him, is he? But I think Chelsea's one club that could take advantage. I think Man U's another club that could take advantage of this uncertainty in terms of clubs are going to be struggling. They're going to be struggling, and I just hope that I'll make a prediction now. There'll be one club that'll show a little bit of balls in the transfer window, and they'll spend big to try and take advantage of all the other clubs tightening their belt a little bit. If I had to take a punt now, I would say it's possibly Everton. With Carlo Ancelotti, they might say, you know something, we've got the manager, he's shown what he can do already. Let's chuck a little bit of cash at him and have a. They had a go. They tried it under Koeman, didn't work. I think now they've started to recoup their losses a little bit. They've got rid of a few players that didn't quite work out as an experiment, like Klaassen and Sandro. They might think, right, okay, Ancelotti, we'll roll the dice again and let's see what happens. I think there'll be one club that finishes in the top 6 next season. If it starts in January, it starts in August and goes ahead as normal, I reckon there's someone that's going to break into that top 6 that's not been in top 6 this season. And I'll say it's Everton or Wolves, but I'll go for Everton. That's a wild punt.
And the thing I like about the Ancelotti example is he can demonstrate, go, look, this is what I did with Calvert-Lewin, who before that, I know me and Gio have had these conversations. I don't know what your opinion, Ray, is. You live in Liverpool. You could maybe have a deeper conversation about him. But like me and Gio both have a very similar outlook on him and just say before Ancelotti came in, no. But now he's come in, he's actually looked like he's stepping up a gear. Looks like he's starting to become something that he kind of half threatened to be. I'm not going to go anywhere and say he's the finished product by any means, but he's at least put him in a system that works for him and is getting results out of him. And then if you say that he can turn around to, I can't remember the Everton's owner's name, Mashiri, is that the name? Looking at you two there, and say, look, if I can do that with him, if you get me the tools, I can get you this opportunity. There is an opportunity here. Let's step to it, like Wolves did, like Leicester did, like Sheffield United did to an extent. But Gio, if there is this fall in revenue and fall in money, which will inevitably happen, and like you say, we weren't exactly going to have much to begin with. If you have to sell a player to bring someone in, to get people in, who are the ones you're looking at? Who's your top sort of candidate to be sold for the sort of funds? Given in mind, of course, they have to be replaced directly by a youth player for a while, these kind of things. Who would be your top candidate? Or it doesn't even have to be one. It could be a couple if you wanted.
Masuaku is my number one.
Okay.
He's not got a role at the club. He don't have a position.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a guy here who does not have a position. It's a bit silly having him here.
Yeah.
So I'd get rid of him and Felipe Anderson.
Okay.
I wouldn't wait for. I would actively try and sell him. The guy scored 1 goal all season. Jared Bowen's had a bigger impact on him. He arrived 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good enough. It's not. I think the boy's got loads of talent, but he ain't got the bollocks to play in the Premier League. In the Premier League, you need to have a player. You need to be willing to put your foot in and stuff. I know his tackling stats are good and something, but what they don't tell you is what kind of tackles were they. Because I've not seen him just slide tackle in my life, and I'm not trying to say he should be slide tackling. What I'm trying to say is his tackle stats that are good, but I've not seen him do good tackles.
Yeah.
So, it just doesn't deliver enough for me. Plus his transfer value is probably worth cashing in on it. I don't know. Could you get 30 million for him? Possibly. That's what I'd be looking to get in, because we can all sit here and say Snodgrass or Balbuena, but you're speaking about 5 million here and 7 million there. It's not going to get you very far. So you need to sell a top dollar player, and we've only got 3 or 4 of them at the club: Rice, Diop, Anderson, Alier, Fornals. Anderson's the only one out of them I want to sell. So see you, Felipe. It's been a pleasure, but the experiment has not worked, in my opinion.
And you think we get 30 million for him?
Yeah, maybe a little bit less. I don't think it'll be too far off it. I think he's a damn fine player, and I think he would add a lot of value and a lot of ability to a European club. He won't make it in the Premier League. We go back to Italy, head over to Spain. I'm not sure which. Bundesliga. I think he'd fit in all the other leagues. I think the Premier League's a bit too unforgiving for him, I think.
And what about Masuaku? You listed him. How much do you reckon we'd get for him?
5 to 8 million or something.
Yeah, it's fair enough. Fair enough. Do you put? I mean, the only reason I ask about Masuaku, I would have let it slide, but like with Anderson, I think we have people who can step into that role already at this club. Like Diangana comes back, I think he can just step into that sort of player who can play wide. You've got Hollands on loan as well. There are people there who can exist in those roles. Whereas I look at Masuaku and I think if he goes, we've literally got one left back. And as much as people say, oh, we could put Ben Johnson there, we could play maybe Nagaki there or whatever, I don't know how comfortable I would be knowing that our second choice left back after Aaron Cresswell, who we probably need to replace
I'd buy a new one. I'd buy a new left back.
But that's what I'm saying. So how is that enough money to like justify selling?
No, but that's why I would sell Masuaku and Anderson. So then I've got 38 million to play with and not just 8.
That's fair.
Because I think your left back, we've got to chuck cash at it. It's time to solve this position. I think a couple of months ago I was thinking we need a left back and a right back, but Ngakia has now said, hang on, call off the right back search, give me a chance, right? And Ben Johnson's also coming in. So now we've got 3. We've now got 3 right backs with Fredericks as well. Zabaleta's going, we know that. But we've now got 3 right backs, okay? We only need one of them to be on form at any time in order for you to have a right back in the team that you're happy with. The left back situation, I think Creswell's a fantastic second choice left back.
Yeah.
I want to see him at the club long term. He's already been here a long time. I want to see him continue that. But I want to see us chuck a little bit of money and get in a really, really good left backs. Everton done it with Dean. Leicester's took through Ben Chilwell. Wolves have got Johnny and Vinagre that can play out there. It's time for us to get someone as good as these players, because when you look at our competition, they've all got better left backs than us. We are bottom of the table for left backs. This is what I was trying to say at the start of summer. If you took all the first 11s of Everton, West Ham, Wolves, and Leicester, because those were my 4 comparable teams, and you were to do a combined 11, we had about 1 player that would get into that 11.
Yeah.
And that was Diop, who's gone backwards this season. Because I'd have Ndidi over Rice any day. So
yeah, that's true. I would agree.
So if you do your first 11 combined, we've got 1 player in that 11, and it's not good enough. We need to have 3 or 4 players getting into that combined 11. Until we do that, we ain't going to be going anywhere.
Ray, who would be your top candidates for selling for funds, essentially?
If we could get about 25 mil, I would say about Antonio. I don't know if we're actually going to get that much, because I see next season he's just going to be a substitute for us. He's an impact player. I don't see him as being a proper first team, because Haller needs to step up. We've got Bowen in the team now. Diagana's going to be back. I expect him to do really well because he's had that year experience in the Championship. I expect him to perform next season for us. So I see him playing a lot more in that team. Anderson, we probably would get 30 million from him. Who's going to take his position? Holland from the youth team, maybe. You know, Lanzini, can he go out the wing there? Maybe. I would probably sell Lanzini if I could. And the other one is Jack Wilshere. What's he going to be like next season? Is he still going to be injured the whole of the season? Yeah. I think that's a safe assumption that, you know, he's going to be injured again. But he might be that missing player that we needed.
That guy. I'll tell you
buy anyone in the summer. We've got Wilshere back, mate.
I'll tell you what's going to happen. The country will announce that we're over coronavirus. It's now safe, and Jack Wilshere will get coronavirus a week later. He will get it when everyone else is recovering from it. He will start a second pandemic all on his own.
I mean, the real question is, how does he catch it, seeing as he's never bloody allowed to leave the treatment room? I mean, that's the real question we've got to answer.
It's in the tumble dryer.
It's in the tumble. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Someone coughed inside it.
Contaminated towel.
Or the other thing with Wilshere is that he'll have an amazing first 6 months, get a new contract, 120 grand, injure the rest of the season.
I am surprised neither of you have said Haller, if I'm honest. I personally, I wouldn't. I've made a video on the second channel defending him. It went down. It went down. But I personally wouldn't. But I am surprised neither of you have brought it up, because out of Gio, you've mentioned this on the main channel numerous times. The idea of if you spend, say, 45 million on Haller or 45 million on Anderson, you could still, a couple of seasons later, still recoup a lot of that if it doesn't go well. It's that sort of like speculate to accumulate thing.
Hang on a minute. You just had a couple of seasons. We're not there yet.
No, this is what. So is that why you wouldn't even?
No, because Anderson don't fit in. Like if he was to go to like Spurs or Man U or Chelsea, and one of their fans was to say, "Could you come on our channel? Will Felipe Anderson be a success for our club?" I would say no. I say because he's not going to be a success in the Premier League. But Haller, I would say yes. He can do it in the Premier League. He's got the quality. He's got the ability. He's just been mismanaged. Anderson hasn't been mismanaged. He's had chance after chance after chance. And yes, Sebastian Haller has too. But last season, we were playing better football. We were winning more games. There was no threat of relegation. It was a comfortable season. It was almost like the perfect environment for someone to come over from a foreign league and get used to English football, and Anderson had that. Sebastian Haller has come over here with a load of pressure on him. We've been down the bottom. He's getting balls booted up to him for 90 minutes saying, score, and he's thinking, how the hell am I meant to do this, right? He's not had a good environment. He's not had the right opportunity, and I think he's been mismanaged from the get-go. But, you know something, I say this about Ajeti as well. So it's not just Sebastian Haller. There's other players as well. But we saw against Southampton, we saw the best of Sebastian. We saw that. So the question now is, can David Moyes get that out of him every week next season? And I don't know, he doesn't even have to, but if you can get out of him 25 out of the 38 game weeks, then we've got a top striker in our hands who's going to cause a lot of problems and score a lot of goals.
The other thing is, who are we going to get more money for? Who are we going to get more money for? Are we going to get more money for a player like Anderson or Haller? Where Haller's had not the greatest season, but I think there's a lot of European teams that would love to spend more money on Anderson because he is that kind of star player for them. And I think he could do well in European.
So you sort of led me on to the question I was going to ask anyway, which was, and I'll start with you, Ray. Is there anyone in this squad right now who you wouldn't sell for love nor money? Like, it doesn't matter what deal came in. Like, obviously realistic. Like, if someone comes in for Carlos Sanchez for 100 million, that's just not realistic. We all know that, right? But is there anyone who you would not sell for love nor money?
Yeah, Rice for this season. I feel like we need that anchor. There's a lot of other positions that we need to strengthen, and if we have to re-strengthen that one, because honestly, I think anyone we sell in the summer, we probably won't even reinvest that into players because there's going to be so much money taken off the books. If FFP is still in play, then they're going to need that to balance the books. I don't know if the Football Association will lift that for one season and say, right, no FAP for next season. We know everyone's in a tight situation. We don't want to, ruin everyone's chances, or whether they're going to keep it going on. I don't know. That's another question. But yeah, I personally reckon there's going to be a lot more loans as well next season, if anything. So I'd keep Rice.
So Man United rock up. You're the manager. Man United rock up and they say 100 million for Rice. Bang. You say no.
I would say no, because I don't even see us finding a big enough replacement for that.
I respect
position.
that. I respect that.
100 million? You don't think we could replace Rice for 100 million?
I think it's going to be really tough to replace him. I really do. I see us. We need to replace a centre back. We need to get in another midfielder. and we need a left back. And they're the three key positions that we need to put. If we have to have a fourth one on there, we're not going to be able to do that for 100 million. I don't see it.
And actually, I think to back up Ray to an extent, I think the idea of Rice leaving is more than just the footballer, if that makes sense. I think there is an argument to be made that given the situation the owners are in right now, if they were to sell Rice and then to not adequately spend or to not adequately replace him, it's only going to get very bad for them. Gio, same question. I think I know your answer from everything you ever say to me and on videos.
Well, what am I going to say?
Oh, you're going to say everyone has a price.
Yeah. You know, me and Gonzo done the tier list videos, so this ties in with that. So I'm not going to give too much away because we rank players and going by the transfer market. So we put players in they wouldn't sell, we've got a price, transfer this, release them. Essentially, basically, it's like the Carlos Sanchez category at the bottom there. But for those videos, I did try and get rid of my thing, which is every player has a price. I didn't use that because it would be boring otherwise. I would have put every player in the same category, the whole thing way through it. So I've actually put some players in they would not sell at any price category. Although if someone come in with a hypothetical £50 million bid, I would have accepted it. There's a bit of a clue. There's someone in there that's not many people would put in. But every player does have a price, Charlie. Every player does. 100 million for Rice, yes, I would accept it. 60 million for Diop, I would accept it. 10 million for Fabianski, accept. 50 for Alier, accept. Every player in football has a price. Cristiano Ronaldo left Man United for Real Madrid, left Real Madrid for Juventus. Ronaldo. Every player in football has a price. Fact. That is a fact.
Ronaldo did stay an extra season though for him because he was offered to go the season before, but Ferguson convinced him to stay one more season.
The point is, he still left.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like this.
So there was a price.
But the following season, I would sell Rice next season, but not this season. I feel
all
like.
Right. So would you turn down 200 million? Thank you.
Fucking $1 million man here.
Everyone's got a price.
Obviously, I know fine. No one would ever bid. And no one bid anything over 80 for Rice. We know that, right? So it's a hypothetical thing. But my point is, you've just proved it. Every player has a price. And that is applicable to every team every summer. Every player has a price. Is there any player I would not want to see leave? Mark Noble. Because what would you get for him? 5 million? What's the point in that? What are you going to do with that? You're going to get Carlos Sanchez II. What's the point? Like, what he offers is ridiculous. Like, to the club is you cannot put a price on. But yeah, I'm open to selling anyone in the summer. Always am. Because if you invest it wisely, you will go one step back and take 2 steps forwards. It's all about having the process in place so that you can move on. Look at Liverpool. They sold Coutinho. They would not be where they are today without selling Coutinho. I can't prove that, but I will stand by my opinion. Well, actually, I can. They're top of the league. They're 2 wins away from winning the title. And part of that was selling Coutinho and then going and signing the likes of Van Dijk and Alisson.
Yeah.
Salah.
How upsetting it will it be if they get the season null and void and they don't win the championship?
My point still stands. They're still top. I mean, specifically, your business will probably go very up if that were to happen. I imagine a lot of people would try to drown their sorrows. The other good example is Tottenham, innit? Tottenham did it with Bale. They sold Bale. And how many of those players worked out in the short term? Not many. How many worked out in the long term? Much more. And how many are worth more and worth more for what happened? I mean, these things do have to happen. One step backward, 2 step forward type thing. Yeah. Or 2 step forward, 1 step back, however you want to word it. Gia, you alluded...
With this going on, do you see Golden Sullivan selling some of their shares to get more investors in? Because if they can't afford it themselves and they're going to lose like 40 million,
can't afford it.
Like, so let's just say if they're going to have 40 million taken off their books, they're going to need some other investors into the shareholders to help balance the books to some degree. I don't know.
They'll just loan the club the money themselves and whack 3-4% interest on it, won't they? That's what they'll do. They'll come out of this fine. Is as bad owners as they are, they would never see us in financial trouble. The board, they never would. They're not evil. They're just incompetent. And there's a big difference between the two. There's a big difference in a money launderer like Birmingham had that went to prison. There's a big difference in a, like a fraud of an owner, like I don't know. You look at like Bolton and Bury and all that, and how they've gone about their business and stuff. They're just frauds of owners that don't really know what they're doing. Do they know what they're doing? I think to some extent they do. They're just not good enough to do it. Like, they know how to sign a player. They're just not very good at it.
So this is a very meta question. I do apologize for it. In the same way that I know you well enough to know you'd say no player has the price. If you were to guess who I was about to say, who do you think I would say? Because we obviously talk a lot about if I wouldn't sell any one player for love nor money. Because we know each other very well. We speak a lot. We've been on videos literally for 5-6 years at this point. I don't know how long it's been.
How many players have you got? One?
I've got a couple in my head, but there's one specific one.
Roberto.
Mate, he's got to stay. He's so tall. He's a big boy.
I'll give you a clue, Gio. He's not currently at the club. He's
no. All right, I wasn't including him. But obviously, #recall Big George is my primary objective in life. But I wasn't including him. But Ray is 100% correct.
I'm gonna say. I think I'm gonna guess. Okay, I'm gonna write it down.
Okay.
Right, so I can't then. Neither of us can change our mind.
Yeah.
Just for the. My pen. Oh, here it goes. My pen. I was saying my pen's not working for the last lecture.
Yeah.
You could work out. Charlie, who's your player?
I agree with you. I think everyone has a price, but Mikel Antonio.
Wow, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That's a turn up the books.
I know. If anyone's a long time, so the longer. Oh yeah. I love him. I love him dearly. He was one of the other people on the list that I have. I love Big Pab Fornals. Yeah, look, if anyone's a long time viewer of the channel, you'll know that I don't like Mikel Antonio very much. I think he can't pass, he can't shoot, he can't cross. It's basically my catchphrase at this point. The problem is he's just too important. He's just too important. Obviously, like realistically, as Gio said, I think everyone has a price. If a certain amount comes in, he's gone. Because I clearly don't rate him. But I don't know where we'd be without him right now. I really, really don't. And like the Arsenal game, I wanted to see him subbed off, but I just looked at the options and I was like, he just can't. He just can't. He's just too important for us. And if we were to go into next season without him, I would be a little bit concerned, if I'm being honest. And I don't think he's very good, but it's kind of the place I'm at. Gio, you look like you have about 50,000 questions.
Mate, I'm just genuinely surprised. I did not expect that whatsoever.
Yeah, I didn't think
How old is he going to be next season?
Probably like 480 or something. The dude's getting on, but I think he's going to be 29 or 30.
I think he's going to be 30 or 31. I think he's already 29. Yeah.
So I'm kind of concerned that he's not going to have the legs for next season. That's why I would sell him.
I'm not getting involved because of the tier list video. We spoke about Antonio, so I'm not going to get involved.
Yeah, so Gia, just before we go, like obviously we've got this big thing going on at the moment. What is the actual plan for the channel? I don't know if you want to let the patrons in at all.
We're all right. We've got some good ideas. I've got some good content coming up. I've got some good content just for patrons coming up. It's going to be different. We don't have an option. It's going to be a little bit different because there's no previews or reviews to rely on. The cups of tea are going to be a bit trickier as well because that's where we discuss the news and there ain't much news. Although saying that, I've seen us today, Sunday, I've seen us linked with Phil Jones and Arsenal linked with Issa Diop. But I am putting that solely down to journalists being under pressure to come up with something and there's nothing for them to write about, right? So we can adapt more than the journalists can right now because we can sit and do a video. Well, we've just done 2 videos about the tier list about which players would sell and keep for next summer. A journalist can't really do that. They can't really go tier list to 4-page spread. Oh, we're going to do a tier list on our top goalkeepers for the season. You know, you tell me you've gone to uni to do a degree, then you're going to whack up a bit of an article about someone in their bedroom can do. Yeah, good work with that. But no, seriously, we've done a survey results video earlier. That's up. We recorded 2 videos, which is tier list videos. We did one before about Premier League strikers, and we've done one about the West Ham squad as to if they're a key player with that. We've done something similar with the transfer list in regards to the summer. Would we sell them or would we keep them, or are we in the middle with them? We've got, I'll tell you this one. We're going to be playing FIFA. Me and Gonzo, we're going to be playing FIFA. I'm going to whoop his ass as well.
PS or Xbox?
Xbox.
Oh.
I used to be pretty good at it, but then I sort of dropped down to average, and I've only just got this version last week because I'm not gonna lie, it was only 20 quid on CD keys. It's 20 quid. Mm-hmm. I've been playing COD. I don't play the Xbox that much, but I've been playing COD while I had time, so I downloaded FIFA. So Gonzo's worked out how to record the gameplay footage. So I'm gonna wallop him.
You're gonna wallop him one.
I'm going to wallop him, and then it's going to be evidence for people to watch. But we've got some good ideas. If the old Hammers Chat viewers remember a series called "If I Was Slav," we did. Obviously, when Slav was here in the summer, so it must have been summer 2016 now. Must have been, because he got sacked or to summer 2017. Either way, we're going back 4 years here. We did a series called If I Was Slav, which was basically, if we go guess the channel on. So myself and Gonzo never done it. I think you don't. Did you do one, Charlie?
Yeah, I remember I did one. Young Tom did one.
Jack Mate
did one. And was there someone else did one, I think?
Possibly. But we asked some questions. What would you do if you were the manager? So it was such like, you've got a penalty, Mark Noble's not on the pitch, who's taking it kind of thing. So it's a little bit of fun. So we've got a couple of decent guests lined up, a couple of people that you'll recognise, that celebrity West Ham fans, I suppose you could call them. So they're going to be participating. We've got, on the forum channel, we're doing a video. Myself and Gonzo are discussing every Premier League team season thus far, but we're doing one video per team, so it's like a 20-minute, reasonably in-depth conversation with our opinion on that team, because we're scraping the barrel here for content. But people are used to one video a day on the forum channel, and the only way we can sustain that is if we step away from West Ham. We just have to step away, because there's not enough West Ham stuff to keep us going. So we're going to be, struggling, I guess. But look, we've had a couple of people on Patreon suggested this concept, you guys. So I'm not going to be in the next episode. It'll be you two plus a patron, hopefully. This is going to continue even when the football season comes back. This is a permanent feature now for patrons, this video. If Charlie and Ray are all right with it, but to be fair, they were keen to do it as well, so it's good. It's good. I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to watching the first one myself. I'm not really a patron, so how am I going to access? I'll find a way of accessing
it. Ray can send you the unlisted link.
Yeah, well, I'll have to log in on Ray's account and watch it. But no, that's
staying. There's any biscuits for our show, Charlie?
Well, this is what I'm hoping. This was the plan, Ray. I thought long term, we do it a couple of weeks, maybe 2, maybe 3, and then we just start bombarding Gio. Like, can we get Jammy Dodgers? Hobnobs. Whatever we're feeling. I feel like at some point you make money.
I will happily sign off a pack of biscuits. There's like 1 pack per month, so you've got to really ration these.
Ray, what we'll do is we'll meet halfway, right? You come from Liverpool, we'll meet half Birmingham. I don't know where, right? We'll meet halfway.
I'm not paying for the fares.
We'll flip. Listen. We'll talk about it later. But we'll figure it out.
You can get the biscuits, but you're gonna have to get them quick, because I've got a feeling there's gonna be none on the shelves in a couple of weeks. So you're gonna have to be like, I can't promise you toilet roll. I can't promise you that.
Oh, that would have been a good one. We should have asked for toilet roll. Wait, Ray, we've messed this up.
Do you know something? I know we're going off key here, but I found myself in the last few days turning into sort of like a toilet roll connoisseur. Everybody's been putting up pictures of toilet roll on social media, and boys, I am judging. And I'm not gonna lie, appalled at some of the branding of these toilet rolls. I'm thinking, that's like sandpaper stuff you're buying there, mate. Like, I think I'd rather have no toilet paper than what you're buying. Where's the Andrex? There's little Andrex going around on social media. I'm a bit concerned that, is it that bad that we have to buy?
Well, this is just to pull the curtain back even further, and this is information no one wants, but I'm saying it now out loud. So like as a household, we tend to get very cheap toilet paper because money, right? But recently, some really expensive stuff's been massively on sale, and we've been getting it, and it's been a glory. I'll tell you what, it's been a glorious time. I've enjoyed the toilet, right? But then, as this has all happened, we've had to get what we can get, and it's what you're saying, Gio. I'll tell you what, it's a bad time now. I'm truly feeling it now in many ways.
It's danger of like tearing during wiping and stuff,
Right.
and it's just not worth the risk. I think when Andrex is on offer, stock up. You know, just don't compromise on the toilet roll. Your bum does not deserve it.
Ray, what toilet roll are you getting?
Well, actually, we got some quilted Durex here for the managers anyway. So that's all good.
It's like a throne.
Yeah.
It's got your crown on as you sit down.
I was like, girls, go get me the best toilet paper you can get because it's gonna be a long summer.
He's got one of those. He's got one of those fancy Japanese toilets which have like heated seats and all kinds of like functions.
And the water jets up.
Yeah. It's all going on at Ray's. It's all going on at Ray's. Ray, might have to roll up to Coyote Ugly at some point. I'm not gonna lie about it. I'm struggling. Ray, where can people find you on social media before we let everyone know about how they can get involved?
They can find me on Facebook, Twitter. I'm not really actively on Twitter as much as I should be. Or you can watch me do a show on American Hammers TV. I normally do it every Tuesday.
Excuse me, you did not ask permission to plug that.
Oh, sorry. I thought
It's
it's
fine.
just for
It's fine. The American Hammer is a friend of ours. It's fine. You're all right. You can plug.
They might be upset I want to hear. You never know.
To be fair, Gio, the amount of times I've not asked for permission to plug us, the boats, everything when I've been on there is frequent. To be fair, every single episode I get it in some way, shape, or form. So you know.
Yeah, but you get paid in biscuits.
Well, I don't complain. I like biscuits. Gio, I would ask you. I think everyone knows where they can find you, but where can people find you in general?
In Scotland.
There we go. Lovely stuff. Big at Red Hammer 8 there. So as Gio alluded to, if you wish to get involved, if you wish to be in the Gio seat, the next episode, there's multiple ways you can do it. You can email us, hammerschat@gmail.com. You can tweet us, hammers_chat. But the easiest way, just comment underneath this post. Be it on Patreon.
Because only patrons can see this.
Yeah, I know, but they can email or they can tweet. To be fair, you tweet out this video is now available on Patreon sometimes.
So they might want to plug the Patreon.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm not sure if I want to plug this show yet.
Well, listen, you're on it, so if you're not plugging it, then you haven't got confidence.
I need proof long term that this is a good series, so I'll wait a couple of episodes.
I don't know if you've just heard the amazing conversation we had about toilet paper, Gio, but I'm not sure what more proof you could want, if I'm being honest. But yeah, the easiest way, comment below this Patreon post, and we will get in touch with you. Let us know about what you thought of the topics as well.
I've got a question for you.
Lay it up.
When's the next one?
Ray, when are you free?
Unprepared.
Okay, listen. All right, listen. I'll pull the curtain back even further if that's what you want to do. Like we decided to do. We were like, we only.
It's a pilot show.
We only like fully planned this about 6 hours ago or something. I'm saying I would say in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
That would be the goal for me. 2 weeks' time. So say this goes up on Monday, which would be tomorrow or now for everyone watching this. Then I would say 2 weeks' time. And then we will see it. Let us know what you thought about everything we spoke about. And if you have any questions you want for the next one, we'll put up a post closer to the time. But if you have any questions, also leave those below. Because let's be real, as Gio said, let's scrape that barrel, baby. You've got topics, we'll talk about them. We will do it. Ray, thank you so much for joining me, which will hopefully be as per usual as my lovely, lovely bestie friend.
Oh, thanks, man.
We'll talk about wrestling. We'll talk about wrestling off the air. And Gio, thank you for being the first guest. We appreciate it. We both appreciate it, even if you don't as much. We both do.
Do you know something? I've actually enjoyed it. It's a bit of a change being the one answering the questions. So yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's all right. Yeah, it's good.
I'm good.
I'm looking forward to the next episode, boys. Get a good guest, yeah.
I mean, listen, That's up to these people. That's up to these people. Do feel free to get in touch. But yeah, thank you for watching. Like if you haven't already, and subscribe if you're new around here. And if not, we'll see you next time.